Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we have two does. One is a John Doe, a white male, aged 10 to 14 years old, found in Norcross, Georgia. His skeletal remains were found in a box with an infant that could be a male or a female. His remains were found February 28th, 1998 in Norcross, Georgia, in a box. Box containing the skeletal remains found lying next to a curb on Buford Highway, on the highway at the intersection with Weaver Way. So somebody dropped him off on the highway. To me, that means it could be from almost anywhere. The case number is in reference to, and it talks about the skeletal remains. The box indicated that the remains may have come from South Georgia. According to a forensic anthropology report, the remains appear to be individual approximately 12 years of age. And so I went searching in Georgia to see if there were any white males ages 8 to 15 years old from February 28, 1998, all the way back listed on Numus, and I couldn't find anybody. So if you have a loved one, friend, family, ancestor, anyone that was missing, make sure they're in NamUs. Make sure they've actually been reported missing and they're actually in NamUs. And if you can't get the investigators to put them in NamUs, you're not sure if they've been reported missing. You're not sure if maybe they were reported missing and there was a flood, tornado, fire, damage to the papers that were stored years ago. I don't know. Make sure they have the information. And also try to put them on the Doe Network and the Charlie Project. So then the other skeletal remains in the box, they're not sure if it's male or female. They're not sure of the race. And I had thought maybe they were siblings, but I just don't know. It's an infant. They don't know the height or the weight of the infant. It's just skeletal remains that were in the box with the other one. And I had thought, if that had been a little girl that was 10 to 14 years old with a baby, but it's a little boy. So I don't know. All right, so now we're going to look at some of the missing people. And I did find this one missing person. I had been looking for males automatically, even with a baby, I don't know why. But I did find a little girl that was less than a year old missing. Gainesville, Georgia, October 27th, 1977. Betty Loggins Emmett, and her 4-month-old daughter, Holly Ann Emmett, were last seen at their home in Gainesville, Hall County, Georgia, October 27, 1977. Betty's husband, Holly's father, reported that Betty took the baby and left their home at about 1 a.m. and said she was leaving the state, but he didn't know where she was going, that some unknown vehicle came and just picked them up and drove them away. And so he's never heard from them since. So how far away is that from where the remains were found? About 45 minutes from where they were left there. Okay, so then, I wanted to look in nearby states as well. But I don't think I looked for baby girls in the nearby states, just baby boys, I think. But we have James Matthew Mulemans, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that right. He was 12 years old. He went missing from Florida December 20th, 1987, just days before Christmas, Titusville, Florida. And he was on I don't know if saying a boat is right, but him and his father, James Matthew, and Captain John DeGoes, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that right, Frank Doherty, left Port Canaveral 6:30 a.m. on a fishing expedition, 21-foot gas-powered Chris Craft boat. Yeah, they had planned to return by nightfall, but the boat never returned. Captain John DeGoes and Joe Muleman Sr. were located deceased off the coast of Daytona Beach. Jamie and Frank Doherty have never been located. So I would expect that he's probably, something happened to him in the water, something happened to them. Chris Martin, Dunedin, Florida, 9 years old, 1987, October. Chris Martin, Ginger Martin, and John Brady were last seen October 4th, 1987, leaving on a 38-foot Syria boat to travel to Haiti. It was not reported to law enforcement until February 26, 1988. Brown hair, brown eyes. No photo. Chester Ralph Wetmore, Bradenton, Florida, May 27, 1986, 14 years old. Last seen leaving his home. Doesn't really give any information about where he was going. He was wearing jeans, blue checkered shirt, and boots. Brown hair, brown eyes, and he just disappeared from off the face of the earth. David Clayton Warner, Jefferson City, Tennessee, 12 years old, March 2nd, 1983. Um, he planned to go to a function. He was going to a church. It was just a few doors down the street from his home. He ended up not going to the church. Instead, he went and got a burger at a restaurant. He watched some TV at a friend's house until about 7 p.m. He told the friend he was going home. It was about 30 yards from his house was where the friend lived. His family woke up, found the bed covers were bundled up, that maybe to make it look like he had been in his bed, but he hadn't. And so the police thought he had run away or he was at a friend's at first. But he's never been seen or heard from since. Strawberry blonde hair, brown eyes. And Kipling R. Hess III, Merritt Island, Florida, 12 years old. He was just on his way to school and he disappeared. He never arrived at school. He's never been seen or heard from since. Nobody knows what happened to him. Keith Dean Fleming, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 13 years old. He was just on his way home from a friend's house. He has previously had a broken leg with a partial plate and for his two front teeth as well, and he was wearing a gold chain with an Italian horn. He was just on his way from a friend's house and he disappeared. Strawberry blonde hair, brown eyes. Never seen or heard from again. Nobody knows what happened to him. Miami, Florida, Paul Allen Allard, 14 years old. He was visiting relatives in Florida. He was known to hitchhike, and they think that maybe he tried to travel back to Connecticut to go home to his family by hitchhiking all the way from Florida to his house. Just 14 years old, strawberry blonde hair, blue eyes. And he's never been seen or heard from since. He tried. They think he tried to hitchhike home or something, and something happened to him. So, and we have Landon Lee Derriggy, Miami Shores, Florida, 13 years old, 1973, July 27th. He left his house. He was just going to walk to the store. He had a deviated septum. He's never been seen or heard from since. Wow. He kind of reminds me of the son of some friends of mine. Okay, so Michael Woodward, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, 9 years old. 9 years old. He looks so young in this photo. 9-year-old child. Went missing. He was last seen playing in his own yard. He was wearing brown striped pants and blue tennis shoes. He had an injury which may have left him blind in his eye. I think it was a fishing accident or something. Yeah, fishing accident. Protruding teeth. And he was just in his own yard playing. And he just disappeared. This is a baby. Non-family abduction. Colquitt, Georgia. July 24th, 1987. This is, well, not a baby because he's 1.5 years old enough to walk, playing in his own yard, and he went missing. because I don't know if they were siblings or not. I wondered if maybe they had a parent that had abused them or something had happened to their mother, or I don't know. You just don't know what happened to 'em. Then you think about if there was a flood and the bones got washed up, or somebody had the remains and they were trying to find out who they were. I don't know where they came from. And then we have a non-family abduction, Atlanta, Georgia, 5 days old. Um, Abducted from his home by an unknown black female that may go by the name of Lisa, getting into a brown vehicle. It's so strange. This one, Atlanta, Georgia, non-family abduction, 3 weeks old, hospital room. He was recovering from a minor surgery. He was in the custody of the family Department of Family and Children's Services. There was a reward, but they weren't able to find him, so they don't know who took him from the hospital. And I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Jamar'ee, Clarence Coleman, forgive me about that. Brunswick, Georgia, 2 months old. And oh, she was walking home from her brother's house at 3 a.m. and they got into a pickup truck. And the man that was driving the pickup truck, um, well, he murdered the mother and he said he left the baby near the creek. And so they've never found what happened to the baby. They're not sure. So, and the man's name was Carl Harris. And she knew him. Her name was Cheryl, and she knew Carl Harris. And he took them to a wooded area on Homer Wilson Way on Andrews Island where he killed her. And he confessed later to the police, and he said he left the baby on the bank near the Academy Creek. So, I don't know for sure, but there's that. So if you have any information about who this John Doe might be that was found, that's age 10 to 14 years old, and who this baby might be, or what might have happened to any of these missing children, please contact authorities and let them know any information whatsoever, whether you feel like you gave it to them years ago, you're not sure if it's relevant, you're not sure if it's important. Just let them know. Don't forget to pray for their families and their loved ones. Feel free to leave comments and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.